Hi there, my name is Sarah and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I am planning my fall garden and this is actually a collab with Kirsten from Poplar Creek Farms. If you haven't seen her channel, I highly suggest you check her out. She's really sweet, she's a lovely demeanor, and is really knowledgeable, so I've actually already learned a lot from her. Go and check her out and tell her that I sent you. If you are here from Kirsten's channel, welcome. Again, my name is Sarah. I am a young mom and this is my third year with a vegetable garden. I live in a smaller town in southern Ontario. We definitely live in town and are actually renting, but my landlord, who happens to be my brother, has let me have a small raised bed garden. So it's a 10 by 10 square and then there's 3 beds within that. So I highly recommend you check out some of my garden tours and see kind of what I'm working with. I'm in zone 6A. So similar to Kirsten, who is living in New York State, and she is zone 5B. We're both doing our fall gardens for the first time, and so we thought this would be a great video to collab because we have a similar experience where we've never done this before, but we've been learning about it, but we're planting in very different situations. She has a big, beautiful in-ground bed, and I have a very small raised bed garden. I'm going to be doing more of a square foot, high intensity way of planting, and I'm sure she's probably gonna be able to take a lot more space for her plants. So it'll be an interesting compare and contrast. We're also going to be doing a second part to this collab, which will be at the end of the fall season, where we look back on our fall gardens, how it went, and talk about if we were successful or not and what we learned. So I've got my seeds. I keep them in this little tin that I got from the dollar store, and also this photo album that I got at a thrift store, and that's what I keep my seeds in. So I've got those, and I've got my garden journal. I don't journal in it per se, but I just keep track of new things that I've learned and any planning stuff. All my stuff is just kind of jotted down in here, and it's, yeah, this is what I use. Maybe one day I will do a video just going through my garden journal and what I keep in there. But let me turn the camera around and then we'll get right into this. Okay, so I have set out sort of my plan and I'll show you what I've done. The first thing I did is I sketched out summer going into fall. So today is July 1st, hence my Canada t-shirt. It's Canada Day, and so we are celebrating. I have this highlighted area is my potential first frost date. I looked up a few different websites to find what my first frost is. October 10th is the date I got the most, but I found some that were as early as October 8th and some as late as October 20th. I decided I'll write my first frost date as October 10th, but I'll highlight that 8th to 20 area, anticipating it's going to be somewhere in there. If you live in Ontario, I highly recommend you check out the website omafra.gov.on.ca. That website has all the information you need to know about anything gardening. It has stuff on pest control, organic gardening, all of the dates you need for where you are, and it breaks it down really in depth for our province. So you can see I've already done a little bit of planning, but I'm just gonna pull out the seeds that I would like to plant for my fall garden before we get too far into this. So I've got a few different categories of seeds. I have some that I'm going to direct sow after the weather gets cold, some that I'm going to direct sow as room becomes available in the garden, and then some that I'm gonna start ahead. So the ones I'm gonna start ahead are Brussels sprouts, broccoli, cauliflower, spinach, and actually I think that's it. Next I have long bean Chinese red noodle bean. These are from Baker Creek. Oh, I will link all the places that I've got my seeds from. I learned about them from Jess from Roots and Refuge Farm, and she always talks about them and they always look so beautiful, so I had to give them a try. So those, as soon as my peas, which are amazingly still giving me peas, I can't believe it, I'm gonna throw these in right behind them. I'm gonna try to do more cucumber because my cucumber that are in the ground right now have been ravaged by cucumber beetles, so I'm gonna hopefully try a second round of cucumbers. I don't know if I'll be able to, but we will try that. Those will go in the ground as soon as I can. And then onions. I actually already have a bunch of onions, and I will talk about that when I get into my plan, but these will go in the ground ASAP as well. I have some poppy seeds. So in the fall, you need to make sure that you still have flowers. So I definitely will be putting poppies in. I'm also going to try to get some marigold and some nasturtium seeds and planting those as well, because we still need to attract the pollinators in the fall. Carrots and radishes. These are the little fingers carrots from M.I. Gardener. This is the cherry bell radish and then the champion radish. And I am going to be succession sowing these in my garden so I get them through the whole season, and I'll just keep putting them in until they stop growing. And lastly, I've got iceberg lettuce and red romaine lettuce. I have these growing in my window box right now and using a cut and come again method, but I really would like to try growing a proper head. So I'm gonna be doing those as well. So you can see what I've done is I have looked on the back of the seed packet for how many days until harvest, and then I add another couple weeks for when I'm going to start them inside, just so that I know I have plenty of time for them to mature before the first frost comes. So for my Brussels sprouts, I'm actually going to be starting them in the next week or so, and then cauliflower and broccoli right after. Let's go to my plan. Okay, now this is my planned layout. This top page is fall 2020, and this bottom page is actually my plan for spring 2021. I know, I haven't even collected anything except for peas from my spring summer 2020 garden, and I'm already planning next year. And this is why. I have planted onions here, here, and here this spring. And so onions are a biannual, and they are going to then be harvested next year. So I need to know that these spaces are already taken up. I also need to know where things are going to go next year. So for example, right now my tomatoes are in this bed. So I don't want my tomatoes to be in this bed next year. I'm going to put them in this bed. So I've just sort of done a very loose plan for my spring 2021, and it is subject to change. The biggest thing is garlic. I would really like to plant garlic this year, but it doesn't take up a ton of space, so I'm just going to kind of fill in the gaps. So I will probably put it like around the edges of the beds, maybe this edge and this edge, like right in there. Or I might put it sort of along the bottom of the trellis. When it comes to garlic, we don't plant it until closer to the first frost date. So I haven't planned where I'm going to put my garlic because I'm just going to fill holes with garlic. But that's why I need to know approximately what I'm doing in the spring so that I don't put garlic somewhere where it's not going to fit. So that's why I've done that. I also have some things in here that I don't have seeds for yet. So for example, the beets and the bush beans and kale. Those I haven't received my seeds for, so once I get the seeds, I will then look back on my calendar and decide when to start those and where they're going to go. So make sure that when you are planning your fall garden that you've got your maps of your garden, but also your calendars. It's very important, and it will help keep you organized. Okay, now that we've talked about where things are going and what I'm planting, I'm going to go back to my calendar and I'm going to put in approximately when I'm going to plant all the other things. So I'm going to highlight the things that need to be started indoors in purple, and then I'm going to put anything that can be put in ASAP in yellow, and things that can wait till it's cooler in green. So again, I'm just going to look at the seed packet, and on the back there should be somewhere where it says days till maturity. That's the magic number I'm looking for, and I'm going to add a couple weeks to that. So radishes and carrots, they can keep producing after the frost, so I will plant my last batch of these around the last frost date, give or take. planting a fall garden is a lot more difficult than a spring garden, only because it's hard to find stuff. Garden centers are either closed or they're only carrying perennials, so you're not going to be able to get any started plants from garden centers. You have to start it all from seed. So I'm really hoping that the seeds I ordered get here in time for me to do them. I might have to just pick up some of the seeds I ordered in store. I got specific varieties that I'm excited about, and in the stores here I'm only going to be able to get your basic beet, your basic kale. I ordered seeds from Baker's Creek and from Smart Seeds Emporium, which is on Etsy, and I'm really hoping that they get here in time. As I was saying, there's not a lot of gardening tools and such available. All the pots and things are not being stocked as much because we are out of the gardening season. So what I do is I save the pots that I have from the spring and I clean my plastic pots. How I do that is I just throw them all into my sink or my bathtub and I wash them out with a scrubby brush and dish soap. And then what I'll do is I'll dilute bleach with water in a spray bottle, and then I'll spray them all down and let them sit for a few minutes just to kind of let that bleach work and really disinfect them. Now you may notice that I have a lot of different crops going in a very small space. I have 2 6x4 beds that I'm going to be planting my fall garden into. And I like to have a really wide variety of crops in my garden. It helps with pest control because all those different scents are going to throw pests off, so I like to have a lot of different things. And also I'd rather have a little bit of a lot of things to try than just a whole bunch of one thing. Though maybe I can't say that because I currently have 9 tomato plants in one of my beds. 9. It's wild. It's crazy. It's a lot of tomatoes. I don't even like tomatoes, but I like to grow tomatoes, so I just get so excited, and there's so many things I want to grow and I don't have enough space. I just wish that I could have just a massive garden. So I'm super jealous of Kirsten because she has like a beautiful big property that she can just grow things on. I don't have that yet. One day my dream is to have a beautiful homestead, but it's really hard to do in Canada because our cost of living, at least in my area, is really high. So it's either move far, far away from my family or wait and save and wait and save. Okay, well, that's all I have to say about planning my fall garden. I will be sure to link everything below, all the seeds, all the websites I mentioned. I hope this helped you a little bit. If you are planning a fall garden, please let me know what you are going to be planting this year, and who knows, maybe I will add that to my garden as well. So with that, make sure you go and check out Kirsten's video, which I will have linked below. And as always, I hope you have a really lovely day, and I'll see you next time.